So now we're going to get to kind of our agronomy presentation. It's basically taking a bunch of info of plots that you guys did, all the way from fungicides. I can't even think of it. There's soybean stuff, there's corn stuff in there. Take a look at this and see what you think. We try to put some economics to it about what it would cost as of today to do some of the stuff that is on here. You're going to see some stuff that's really profitable, and you're going to see some stuff that's not so really profitable. This means it might have lost money. But overall, it's interesting to try to avoid what Brandon indicated. They want to avoid hitting the floor. I do think that a lot of people that we work with are avoiding hitting the floor, but there also is a reason that you continue to manage. And so what we've tried to do at Pederson Seed is try to do some agronomy stuff that is related to you guys, what you're doing, what you're trying, and try to get some experimentation and put it back to dollars and cents. There's some of this stuff that is actually statistical. We've got some statistics on it. That comes from Rachel, not from me. I'm a yield-only guy, which isn't necessarily healthy. But she put it to statistics, and Jeremy is going to present some of it. We do, as always, encourage you guys, ask any question. We'll answer it if we can. If we don't know, we'll go back and look at the data and see if we can figure out what your question is and what it tells us. So anything else, Greg, or are we ready to go? All right, very good.
As he said, we credit not Rachel Stevens, Rachel Evans,
Yes,
for a lot of the presentation here. So I'm going to talk first about 2019 soybean fungicide trials. We were gracious enough to get 9 different trials scattered throughout our territory. And as you look at these charts, all this stuff's in front of you. You guys can take this home with you. Always on the left is going to be our controls. So as you can see on every one of those, and then on the right is going to be our treated. So, and this is a combination of both Approach Prima and Preaxor on soybeans. So I don't have them labeled, but it's kind of a combination of the two. And this also includes insecticide as well. And what you can see is obviously every time we got a yield bump on each one of these. The range is 3 to 11. We did have one, and I might add, all these charts do have the township within each of these trials. So you can quickly kind of see, hey, where is this relative to my farm, and that sort of thing. So, and as Andy said, Rachel did some statistics on this, and across this data, we were right at 6 bushel an acre on soybeans for 2019. And in all of the soybean return on investment work, I use yesterday's current prices, and with an airplane application, it basically takes 3 bushel to pay for the application. And I used around 2 bushel for a ground break application. I mean, we can debate that, but so in the average return on investment, we're at a positive $22 an acre on this set. So basically how I did that is the yield advantage times the current price minus what we have in it. So as you look at all of these return on investment slides, that's how I computed all of those. So we always get the question, well, yeah, that's year 1. So what happened the last 5 years? And as this slide shows, we do have really good data throughout 2015 to 19, and you can see the respective yield advantages per year, and that 6 bushel from 2019 kind of depicts what 19 was. And every year was statistically better except for 2018. For whatever reason, we had a little more variability within our data in 2018, but yeah, I think we only had 3 trials in 2018, so we didn't have as many trials, so it was a little more variable. So that's the reason those are the same letter, but every other one is at the economic level. Range is 3 to 9 with an average of 6.2, and there again we also ran the economics on it around a positive $24 an acre on the soybean fungicide. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Yes, Chuck?
Describe what your trial is. I mean, are these
Yeah.
side to size, are these variable?
it never compares field to field. So these are all within, like, a lot of these are check strips. So somebody just with a ground rig, and I guess I might add, 7 out of 9 of these are with a ground rig. So we only got 2 of them with the airplane. It's a little tougher to get as applied from an airplane. So a lot of these come from ground rig, but yes, most of these are where a guy just basically turned the sprayer off for a pass, and we basically compared that pass to the pass beside it. So, yep. And like I said, I'm going to switch gears to our corn data in 2019. We were gracious enough to get 7 trials, which I think is pretty good on corn. A lot of times we struggle to get good checks on corn, and as you can see by this data, we got the least response we got was 3 bushel, clear up to 15, and with an average of 11. So across those 7 trials in 2019. And one thing I might add, in specifics to this one on the right, this particular set of fields here, one side of the road was variety 0589, and the other side of the road was 1244. And kind of what this data somewhat summarizes to me is and they were sprayed on the same day. The 05 was probably sprayed a little bit too late in the R3 or R4 stage, which is milking to the dough stage, to where the 1244 was more in the normal timing around the, right after tassel silking stage. So I guess that could be one of 2 things, whether 1244 could be more susceptible to some disease, or it's a pure function of timing. Because right opposite sides of the road, we got a different story in regards to fungicide. So just kind of something to add to that on 2019. We started in 2019 a little different study. This is the first year we did this. So what this is, the bars on the left, the green bars are corn that is already sprayed once at the regular timing. So say like right at tassel timing, and then it comes back again. The orange bars are at the 2 on the left are R3, which is the milk stage, and the one on the right is an R5, and that is basically the start of a starch layer in corn. So very late in terms of where we would normally apply fungicide. So kind of what we learned from this data was that if you're going to spray again, spray very timely at around that R3 stage. And I also might add this middle test we had was on irrigated ground. That's the reason the yields are much higher. The one on the left and the one on the right was a dry land experiment. And so we got an average of 8 bushel that's an average of the 2. Actually, they were both right at 8 bushel. So we're wanting to add to this data in years to come, because I think a lot of the data suggests that we need to keep those corn plants alive all the way through the end of the year. So, and basically keep them from dying prematurely. So we're going to build on this data in years to come, but just thought it was interesting to show you our first year of field data. Yeah.
On the one on the left, we sprayed that at R5. It was smoked by southern rust. And honestly, what we were looking at was we were trying to improve harvestability at that moment, because the corn, we came out of that field and we were oranger than the orange lines on this. So basically we had a starch line in, corn was completely southern rust top to bottom. And what we were concerned about was harvestability. And so we were having a discussion around, do we spray, do we not spray? Well, we got some help, got some trial product to go see what would happen. Did it, and they picked it at 24%. What we were concerned about at that moment was what happens if it's got to stay until it's 17 or 18%, will the plants stay together? Because it had to be one of the worst southern rust fields we've been in anywhere locally. But it's obvious it had nothing to do with yield, particularly at a high moisture harvest. So it reaffirms what they're telling you, all the research from the university that say, once you get to R4, just punt and just forget it, just get the combine in it. And I think we actually appreciate that data. It's not, maybe we wanted to, we always like to make at least a bushel or something when you do something, but it did reaffirm that there is a point with which spending more money is not a viable option, even with severe infestation. It was, yeah, we had a red on us when we got to Hiawatha yet.
Yeah, I would say 2019 was probably the most southern rust that I had ever seen in my 9 years of being here. So, but this did solidify, because I think if you read any extension publication from anywhere, even from Pioneer, they'll tell you exactly what Andy said. At R4, past the dough stage, just forget it. And then it's about, harvestable yield. And I think that's where we didn't, that being cut at 24%, we maybe didn't fully test the harvestable yield. But yeah, like I said, we're wanting to build on this data, but that's something that we're going to keep trying. And this is a slide of the multi-year of our corn yield responses. So what this is 2015, 16, 17, and 19. We had zero data or zero checks in 2018. So obviously there's some ranges here of the lowest advantage being 2.4, which is not economic, to clear up to 11 in 2019. And I'm going to show just a little snippet of the return on investment. In 3 out of 4 years, it was positive return on investment to spray our corn in the trials that we did here. And I believe all of these were with headline and on our trials. So just kind of something that we're using, and it's kind of hard sometimes to get a check strip on corn. Sometimes what we'll see is if it's on an edge of a road or something, that plane will lift up, and we kind of have an unintentional check strip, and sometimes we can see that as well. But that's kind of our 4-year snippet of the corn fungicide data, and just kind of wanted to summarize that. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit and build. Yes.
Have you seen the fungicide data as far as treating early before that tassel stage, like a month prior to that? Have you looked at any of those?
Yeah.
Instead of basically doing a 2-pass system, but one early?
Yep, great question. The question was, have we tested the what we would call V5 or V6 application of fungicide? We tested that probably about 5 years ago, and it was not very consistent. It was kind of all over the board. It would work one year, maybe not work the other year. So a lot of our data suggests that going until tassel is probably the best thing to do unless we have severe fungus present before tassel. So
I think the follow up on that too, Jaron, is a lot of times when we sprayed early, the field was clean enough at tassel that then we've got in the dilemma of do you go, do you not go, and some of them we didn't go, and so then the data didn't, we didn't 2-pass that way at that time because the economics were different.
Yep.
And I think that could be that R5 he's talking about. I would be more receptive to that on low gray leaf spot rated corns. I think that's where you've got the best chance of getting that, and particularly if they're quick tasselers after that. So back to Brandon's statement, 1151, gray leaf spot ate it, spray it early, and it would be healthy and it would get to a different position, and so you handled that harvestable yield afterwards. But that was our interpretation at that moment, and we probably need to relook at that because there is more data talking about an early with a ground rig and then,
right.
Yeah, later. But anyways.
yep. Yeah, like I said, to kind of switch gears a little bit, are there any more questions on the fungicide? Because that's kind of the end of my fungicide piece anyway on both corn and beans.
Are there certain hybrids today, though, that you guys talked about this earlier, that respond?
Yeah, there's definitely, and as Brandon talked about, I believe the lowest rated right now is a 4. Do we have,
No threes.
there's no 3s within our lineup today. So like my example of that 1244, that's one that is probably one of the lower rated on the gray leaf spot. So, I mean, there is some data there that suggests that spraying your 1244 is probably a good idea. And then I believe we're clear rated up to 7 believe would be the highest. I think 1077, as Brandon pointed out, is a 7, which is a very good rating on gray leaf spot. So yes, there are fungicide, or there are variety differences, Jeff. It's just we don't test those within what we have because we just don't have enough data. But that's a good point.